Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ora News broadcast. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The High Council of Justice has selected the new head of the Tirana Court of Appeals. One of the court judges named Husni Demirai will be promoted to the new head of the court. There were two other candidates in the race, the current chairman of the court, Mr. Malai, and another judge, Mr. Lavanai, who withdrew from the race in the final moments. The media was not allowed in the meeting, but sources say that council member Joni did not participate in the voting process after a request that was made yesterday by the current chairman, Mr. Malai. Malai had asked that Joni be excluded from the vote because of a conflict of interest. He sent this request to the Minister of Justice, who made the following comments before the meeting today. It is my duty to present all the requests to the High Council of Justice. It is a procedural request, and it's up to the council to make a decision. I will only be presenting it, he said. It's also reported that the minister himself did not take part in the vote. Also, the head of the Supreme Court was absent from the meeting as he is currently traveling abroad. The Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta held a meeting today with the U.S. Ambassador Donald Liu and the EU Ambassador Romana Vlahutin at the Assembly building. During the meeting, they exchanged views on the further steps to be taken for the justice reform and on the Parliament's agenda for bringing the reform to a successful conclusion. Mr. Meta expressed his commitment to concluding the process of constitutional changes based on the solid and professional recommendations of the Venice Commission. He praised the efforts of Euralius and OPDAT and the contributions of the experts. According to him, the work that has been done so far is a solid foundation for consensus, since all the parties have agreed to accept the Venice recommendations. The Assembly Speaker emphasized that it's very important that the parties read the Venice opinion objectively. Furthermore, he suggested that the parties go to the experts of Euralius and OPDAT with any issues on which they have differing opinions. He familiarized the ambassadors with the Commission for Electoral Reform, which began its work today, and he gave his assurance that the upcoming elections will be in compliance with the OSCE recommendations. Today's meeting of the Socialist Parliamentary Group was marked by debates between the party members. The Socialist MP Talant Bala confirmed this to the media in a statement after the meeting. He said, "Our discussion was primarily about the concern related to the daily statements of Ben Blushi, who says that there are criminals in the Socialist Party group. He was repeatedly asked to name these people with alleged criminal records, but he did not give any names. At other times, he has also said that there are no incriminated people in the group." The Prime Minister and Chairman of the Socialist Party, Rama, would only make the statement that there are always debates within the Socialist Party. Sources say that the debates escalated quickly and that the meeting degenerated into an exchange of insults between Ben Blushi and Prime Minister Rama. Blushi was asked after the meeting why he refused to name any of the criminals that he says are in the group. He gave the following response. The Socialist Party voted in favor of the decriminalization law, which was demanded by the EU and the US. If there are no incriminated people in the Socialist Party, why would they vote for the decriminalization law? Why did Rama vote for this law if he thinks that there are no incriminated people in the party? This is not a question for me, but for the Socialist Party, the prosecution, and the police. They know best who the criminals are, said Mr. Blushi. Today is the Albanian Teachers' Day, and the Democratic chairman Lulzim Basha held a meeting with a group of teachers that have been dismissed from their jobs all around the country. Basha accused the government of appointing incriminated people in the education sector. He said, "The best and most qualified teachers are being obligated to leave the country. Rama is substituting them with people convicted of falsification of documents and corruption." According to Basha, the education system is facing a lack of vision and the fear of the state. He continued, "The students are being taught by teachers who are under the terror of the state. These days, it's apparent that you must be a Socialist Party member to become a teacher. This is an anti-reform with serious consequences for the children and the country," said Basha. He promised that under his own governance, education will receive priority attention. "There have been no schools constructed in the last 3 years," he said. there has been no increase of salary for the teachers. Education will be at the center of the upcoming government. Change is coming, said the Democratic chairman. Prime Minister Rama and the Minister of Education Lindita Nicola were in Shkoder today for the celebration of Teachers' Day. After visiting a high school, the Prime Minister held a meeting with the Mayor of Shkoder, Voltana Ademi, in the presence of the Shkoder Prefect and SMI MP, Agron Chela. While the Prime Minister was entering the City Hall, the citizens of the areas that were flooded and those affected by the construction of the new stadium pressed around and tried to speak to him. They were held back by the guards at the scene, but the Prime Minister did come back and meet with them after his meeting, as they were still waiting outside the building. First, he addressed the people whose homes will be demolished because of the new stadium, saying that the project meets the European standards and that the conditions of the UEFA will be respected. He gave assurance that there will be compensation for every single house that is destroyed. He also spoke to the citizens affected by the floods, saying that the compensation has been made based on a list that the former government left behind. He added that a considerable amount of compensation has already been distributed. In his meeting today with the mayor of Shkoder, Rama was familiarized with some of the concerns of the local unit. The mayor expressed her concern that the city has received only 2% of the total investments for irrigation and drainage, saying that other areas have received as much as 8% and Vlora has received 18%. The mayor also expressed concerns about the new stadium, saying that she supports the project, but only as long as it does not damage the interest of the citizens. Lastly, she expressed concern about corruption in the education and health sectors. The Vice Minister of Interior, Ilir Marco, gave a report today at the Foreign Commission, saying that there is not a heavy flow of refugees coming in from the eastern countries. He said, "We are not experiencing an inflow like we are seeing in other regional countries like Greece and Macedonia. Around 50 or 60 refugees have entered Albania, and they were turned back because they did not have documents. Some of them were from Mali, and others were from Pakistan, which are not areas of conflict," he said. The Commission adopted the protocol today for Albania's membership in the EC Convention for the Prevention of Terrorism. The convention aims to strengthen the efforts to prevent and destroy terrorism in all of its forms. The Minister of Health, Ilir Becaj, admitted today that there are cases of falsified medical products in Albania. The minister gave a report in the Foreign Commission about Albania's membership in the EC Convention against falsification of medicines. He said that the biggest problem is related to mislabeling and false packaging. He announced that the Ministry of Health is cooperating with the Ministry of Interior to discover the extent of the problem. When we speak about a falsified medicine, he said, we are including the packaging in our statement. This does not mean that the medicine is necessarily fake, but that the package may have been switched. We have identified a number of cases within the structure of economic crime, said Becaj. The Foreign Commission adopted the bill on falsified medical products with only the votes of the majority. If the bill passes, Albania will join the list of countries that contribute to the fight against medical falsification. That's the end of our edition for this evening. Thanks again for watching, and please join us at 6 p.m. tomorrow for more translated news in English. Have a great night.